Whether you never even bothered to play the first game, or it's been so long that you've already forgotten everything that happened, enjoy this quick story catch-up before hopping into Jedi Survivor. 5 years after the infamous
Order 66,
you find yourself on a scrapper planet known as Braca, where the main character Cal Kestis is introduced. He's got a buddy named Prof, whose significance is being the reason for all the shit hitting the fan. You see, his little incident of falling to his death causes Cal to use the Force in order to save him, revealing Cal as a former Jedi Padawan and allowing the Inquisitors to track them down. Rest in peace, you ugly son of a bitch. Cal, of course, is able to get away, making his escape on a ship with a random stranger who he decides to trust for no apparent reason. Thankfully, this random stranger named Cere is actually a former Jedi herself who no longer uses the Force due to reasons revealed later in the video. Trauma dumping. The ship they're on is called the Mantis and it's got this quirky little pilot guy named Grease. Cere brings up
rebuilding the Jedi Order.
So Cal's like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll stick with you guys. This next thing was weird, but somewhat important to the story, so bear with me. This uncomfortable moment is brought to you by Respawn Entertainment. He's essentially able to sense the history behind an object he touches through echoes left in the Force. Fallen Order tells its story through visiting several planets, the first of which is Bogano. We had a lot introduced here. First, we meet a cutie pie named BD1, who leads him through his adventure on this planet and sticks with Cal through every other planet thereafter. This is also where Cal finds his first Force echo, like the thing with the weird banjo moment, except it unlocks a memory of him training with his master Jaro Tapal. This is the game's way of introducing new abilities throughout the playthrough. Lastly, we learn about Eno Cordova, Cere's former master, who tells you about an object containing all the names of the remaining Force-sensitive children through a hologram he left behind. Of course, it's not something he can just give you because that would make too much sense. Instead, he hid it behind a series of trials that lead you on an adventure all throughout the entire galaxy. The clues left by Cordova lead the Jedi Rebuild team through Zepho, Kashyyyk, Dathomir, and Ilum. On their first trip to Zepho, Cal learns that Cordova had a Wookiee friend in Kashyyyk, and so the goose chase continues. When arriving in Kashyyyk, the gang discovers that the planet's inhabitants are being oppressed by none other than, you guessed it, Jar Jar Binks. The Empire. I meant the Empire. Cal, in search of the Wookiee leader who may know the whereabouts of Cordova, makes his way through the fighting taking place. This is where he runs into Saw Gerrera, a famed rebel fighter. Their interaction, however, is cut short when Cere contacts Cal about having found another tomb clue thing for Cordova's quest back in Zepho. Back to Zepho we go. Cere's mysterious past starts heating up when Cal runs into the second sister Inquisitor lady who's out to hunt the young Jedi. The second sister reveals her true identity as Trilla, Cere's former Padawan, the one that Cere told Cal was unalive. That person is definitely alive. Turns out Cere left out minor details when opening up to Cal about her past. While captured and tortured by the Empire, she gave up the location of her Padawan, allowing her not only to be captured and tortured, but to be turned into an Inquisitor. We also find out that Cere used the no-no side of the Force to escape, an immense amount of guilt that she carries to this day, and the reason why she's no longer connected to the Force. Minor details. Cal manages to get away from Darth Mommy, but is captured anyway by a bounty hunter. He wakes up in a prison run by Axion Brood and their leader, Sork Tormo, fighting for his life in the arena, facing off large creatures, and eventually the bounty hunter who sucker punched him. Cal comes out on top to be conveniently saved by the Mantis. Right on time. Apparently, the reason Cal was captured was because of Grease's involvement with Axion Brood through gambling? I don't really know about this one. Grease does apologize to Cal for whatever it is that he did. The three musketeers now find themselves awkwardly working together after Cal confronts Cere about the blatant lies. Remember that Wookiee they were in search of a while ago? Well, the crew receives a transmission from Kashyyyk with information about Tarful's whereabouts. The Wookiee dude. Back to Kashyyyk we go. They find Tarful. Woohoo! Tarful points them in the direction of the origin tree, which Cal climbs to find more clues about Cordova. Confronted by the ninth sister in her fighter, Cal is saved by a Shu, who is wounded by the encounter. Cal offers the little flying creature dude some aid, and in return, it offers a ride to the top of the tree, leaving me to question why the fuck this dude wasn't available before when I was sweating my ass off climbing this massive tree. Anyway, they find Cordova's recording on the top of the tree, which now leads the crew to the final step in unlocking the holocron. Off to Dathomir. Dathomir, the birthplace of Darth Maul, is a creepy place to say the least. Filled with undead crackheads and ferocious wildlife, let's just say this place wasn't a walk in the park. Cal fights his way through the Night Brother village and runs into a creepy man named Malicos. He says to Cal he's a former Jedi who crash landed on this planet after Order 66 and is now a self-proclaimed king of this planet. He offers Cal cookies and a warm spot in the dark side, but Cal's like, nah. Continuing through to the temple, he is faced with a vision of his former master. We see here the events of Cal's escape from Order 66, in which Jaro Tapal saved him but cannot save himself. The vision then turns into a duel with Tapal that results in Cal breaking his lightsaber out of frustration. Off to Elam they go with a new goal: get new lightsaber. Cal goes through a journey of Jedi self-discovery and leaves with not only a new lightsaber, but two, and tons of ponchos. On his return to Dathomir, he finds the vision of Tapal once again, and you're thinking, I have to fight this dude again? Thankfully, no, he chooses not to fight and accepts the pain he's been refusing to deal with all this time. Marin comes out of the shadows, a Night Sister witch. She reveals that a former Jedi had killed all of the other Night Sisters, hence her hesitation to trust Cal. He's able to convince Goth Mommy that he's chill like that, and she decides to join him. Her and Cal eventually have to face Malicos in battle, that crazy dude we met the first time in Dathomir. Malicos is indeed cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and deserves the ass beating he gets, but not without remorse, as he was once a highly respected member of the Jedi Order. One can only imagine the trauma caused from being betrayed by his own, getting stranded on a dark planet and losing his mind and faith in the ideals he once used to fight for. Who's cutting onions? Finally, after all this time, the trial's completed. The three best friends, plus one, return to Bogano to retrieve the holocron. Cal's able to get it, but with it comes a vision showing him leading a brand new Jedi Order just to be exterminated by the Empire again, and Cal eventually turning to the dark side. Trilla, somehow tracking him, appears again, yoinks the holocron, and disappears. So now they have to go get the damn thing again. The Three Stooges, plus one, make their way to the Inquisitor's fortress, where this happens, that happens, and it leads to Seer confronting Trilla. The second sister is receptive to Seer's apologies as she begs her former Padawan to leave the dark side. Dorothy Boy makes his entrance, epic as always.
Hey guys.
That doesn't look good.
It isn't. It's him.
Kills Trilla in her defining moment and chases away Cal and Seer, who are ultimately saved by the witch. All seems handy dandy at this point. The holocron, the item spent so much time in search of, so much effort retrieving, is finally in their possession. Now they can rebuild the Jedi Order. Never mind.